What is socially accepted when you are beautiful but not accepted when you are ugly?
Perhaps not entirely what the question asked, but I need to get this off my chest. About 10 years ago, I was asked to come in for an interview for selling Bose speakers at one of the B2B outlets. It was an entirely professional deal, and the HR guy on the phone could not stress enough how important knowledge about sound systems was. So I go in and only one other guy shows up. We assume they need more people, so we both fancy our chances. Only thing is, this guy has no idea how speakers work, no idea what or who Bose is, and displayed a generally carefree attitude. At least he was wearing a shirt and not a polo with his jeans and sneakers. I get called first, and my interview went on for over 30 minutes, getting grilled about all things imaginable and then some more. I was pretty confident about the material, cause I knew that stuff. And I thought it went really well. So I come out and this guy is shitting bricks because he did not realize this was a serious job interview. We had built up some rapport while waiting, so when he asked me if I could wait for him for some moral support, we were headed back to the same area too. I said okay. His interview lasted 5 minutes. He walked out with an offer letter. All they asked him was his name and his background. I was politely asked to reapply after 12 months. This guy was equally confused. He was not a scumbag, in fact, he was a really nice guy. But even when you are selling high-end conference room sound systems to people who have no time to even listen to your pitch, Bose wanted good looks over skills. Did I mention this guy looked like a cross between Christopher Reeve and Elvis Presley?
Assuming people want to interact with you.
Winking seductively, I would say. I do agree with others though, just about everything is socially unacceptable if you're ugly.
Literally just existing and talking to people. There's a guy at work named Sean. Sean is unfortunate looking. He's a redhead, he's balding, yet his sides and back are pretty long, he doesn't cut his nose hairs, he's constantly red, pink, pot-bellied, and yeah, he kind of lingers around your desk and talks a bit too much. Problem is, we all kind of do that, you know, overstaying your cubicle visit or whatever. Everyone at work thinks he's creepy. They all think he'll shoot up the place or maybe will eventually be banned from entering a school zone. TBH, Sean is a sweet, nice dude. He's your nerdy, 40-year-old virgin type of dude. He's got a lot of friends, from what I can tell on Facebook, and practically zero work friends. He plays on different softball and bowling teams, goes out to bars with his friends, and from what I can tell, seems perfectly normal. I talk to him every so often and he's a really nice guy. I visited his desk and he said I was the first person to visit him. He started here maybe 6 months ago. It's very unfortunate for him that people think of him this way. I know for a fact that if he was skinnier, had hair, and wasn't ugly, that people wouldn't think he's creepy at all.
Being quiet, introverted. If you're attractive, then you're cute or sweet or reserved. If you're ugly, then you're awkward or creepy or have no life.
Being the strong, silent type only works if you are handsome. People don't want to explore if there is any depth to you if you're not aesthetically pleasing.
Being outgoing and having confidence. I'm considered an ugly woman and I find that I get through life better when I'm invisible. If I just keep my head down and keep to myself, no one will notice me. I get the most negative reactions when I do try to better myself.
I'm a recruiter, so I can speak from experience when saying that if you're young and good looking, you will have a much better chance at getting the job regardless of experience.
This super hot girl farted once in my high school class. People thought it was hilarious and some of the football players hugged her and thought it was awesome. Later that year in English class, an overweight girl let a ripper go and was mocked and ridiculed and was told she was disgusting.
Existing.
Flirting.
Being dumb.
Wearing little to no clothing. The more skin showing on a person who you feel is less than desirable, the worse.
Posted this before but apparently cheating. Know a girl that's very attractive. She was cheating on her boyfriend. Asterisk, her one friend wholly supported it. Said sometimes someone better comes along. Asterisk my friends seemed to think it was no big deal either. One said, at the end of the day the most anyone can say about cheating is that it's wrong. Asterisk my wife seemed to want to give the girl the benefit of the doubt, said we can't consider her the bad guy here. We don't know her whole story. Maybe her current boyfriend is abusive.
Posting ass pics to Instagram. I'm a guy and mine still never get any likes. Edit, thanks everyone for making my top comment about my ass pics.
Dressing down for an occasion. For example, hot guy can wear jeans to a semi-formal event and pull it off, looks fine, no worries. Ugly guy wears jeans to a semi-formal event, and he looks lazy and underdressed.
Weirdly, being polite to the opposite sex. I'm generally a very polite and friendly person. When I was fat, men would constantly go out of their way to make sure I knew they had no interest, even though I hadn't given any hint at being interested and was already in a relationship. Now that I've lost weight, everyone's a lot nicer.
People assume your successes are based on your skills.
Being socially forward. Interrupting people while talking, hitting on people, giving unsolicited advice, etc. Being attractive gives you an automatic +4 to charisma. Edit, changed +1 to +4 because D&D. The mob has spoken.
Be persistent in pursuit of your crush. At least in movies, anyways.
Wearing more revealing clothes. I am sure more good-looking people get away with shit personalities.
Doing things that are a little gross, like burping in public. If you're good-looking, people think it's cute and funny. If you're not, then it's gross and unmannered.
Conversation, small talk I guess. This just happened recently to a friend. Matched a girl on Tinder who looked very attractive from her photos. They had hour-long phone conversations and day-long texting conversations. Went to go meet her for the first time and he felt catfished. Apparently she was much larger than the pictures led on. I told him you gotta expect that a bit, but he says it was a crazy amount, like he felt tricked. Anyway, after knowing she was not very attractive, he said she was awful at conversations, very boring, asking the same repetitive questions to not let a conversation die. Looking back on his old texts, she was always awful at conversation, him too TBF, but he was never bored when he thought it was a really hot girl asking about his day at work or his college program, etc. Edit, my friend doesn't Reddit, so I'll show him this comment thread tomorrow, haha. I wonder what he'll think when he sees 8,000 people read his story, sorry man.
Going on about how inner beauty is more important than outer beauty. If you're attractive and say this, you're humble and empowering, but if you're ugly and say it, you're just seen as whining. Edited, the one you're that snuck in. Deliberately opening the sleeping pod of a hot girl during a long-ass trip to colonize a new planet after your own hibernation was interrupted when your pod malfunctioned.
My sister and I call ourselves Princess Diary, pretty because we have frizzy curly hair, but when straightened, we clean up nice. We tried an experiment for 2 weeks. Week 1 wear sweats, no hair straightening, no makeup. Week 2 wear cute outfits, straighten hair, do makeup, wear perfume. I wish we had filmed because the difference in the way we were treated was insane by men and women. Week 1 people would let doors slam in my face, treated me meanly, and didn't notice me. Week 2 everyone smiled at me, held doors, called me honey, got invited out with coworkers. I even had my coffee, donut paid for. Anyone who says that looks don't matter is living in a fantasy world.
A bold fashion choice. For example, wearing baggy, distressed clothes is a look when you're skinny and attractive, but can be seen as sloppy if you're unattractive or fat.
Being weird. People will tolerate a great deal of weirdness, strangeness and psycho behavior from an attractive person, whereas these traits would be unforgivable in an ugly person. There was a social experiment conducted where a catfish profile of a beautiful blonde was created. When guys talked to her, the catfishes responded with the most weird, bizarre, off-the-wall, creepy answers, but guys still kept pursuing. People will tolerate a lot of weirdness if it comes alongside hotness.
To give a somewhat serious answer, boasting of your prowess. People are psychologically more inclined to believe someone good-looking is skillful at whatever they're claiming to good at despite no evidence. In fact, there's something called the halo effect that says along with beauty come all sorts of other positive characteristics. We have a tendency to think beautiful people are funnier, more friendly, more intelligent, more exciting, in possession of better social skills, are sexually warmer, are more interesting, poised and even more independent.
Making a lot of eye contact or smiling at a stranger.
Bothering people who are reading. After years of sitting in coffee shops reading, I realized I was curt with anyone who tried to engage me in conversation, unless they were an attractive girl.
This will get buried, but I think it's an interesting phenomenon, so I'm posting it. The problem of someone's attractiveness clouding your judgment about them is self-reinforcing. As a dude, I've noticed social pressure to avoid treating a hot girl as anything but an angel. Even if she's an awful person and deserves to be called out on something, I'll get flack for doing it in the following manners. Come on man, she doesn't deserve that, you're being too harsh. B. Why aren't you trying to impress her? Are you gay? Lol. But then, maybe if I was more attractive, people would take my criticisms of attractive people more seriously. Not sure if it makes a difference, but I asked Reddit how attractive I was once on an alt a while ago. I was told, average, but probably above average if you were better dressed. Viva sweatpants.
Bad at your job.
Almost anything. Taking your shirt off.
Doing things and or saying stuff. Self-deprecation.
Just being nice in general. Lol. When I was in high school, there was this guy named James and everyone always blasted him for his appearance, how annoying, creepy he was, etc. I tried to be nice to him, but I'd be lying if I said I enjoyed his presence. One day in class, one was talking about how I felt insecure that day and he said, "Don't feel that way. You're beautiful." And I said thank you, but everyone else around us laughed. A more attractive guy in the same class called a friend of mine beautiful and everyone says, "Aw, so sweet. You guys should date." I dunno what happened to James after high school, but first hope he's doing well. Nobody deserves that kind of treatment. Being a criminal sometimes. I remember when that beautiful convict guy was floating around the internet for a while.
Saying you're ugly. If you're actually ugly, you just end up making everyone uncomfortable. If you're beautiful, people tend to fall all over themselves trying to reassure you that you're beautiful.
Consider subscribing.